Okay, we're good to go.
Okay. 1 second. Got it. Why don't I see anything? Okay, we're recording. I'm from Yosef.
Yeah, we're recording. We're good to go.
Okay, I don't see any pictures. I don't see anybody. Am I supposed to press? Oh, there we go. Okay. Gewaldig. Okay, listen, I asked my Rebetzin to be with me here because I don't know that much about succeeding with a marriage, but B'lei Ayin Hara, in her schus, I've been married for, I think, how many years?
You don't remember?
I don't remember. 47, 46. I don't
No,
know. We got married.
We're not that
We
old
got
yet.
married in 1977. Okay. Now I'd like to tell you a story how it all started. When I first got married, I lived in an Arab village. It is still called Beit Zapafa. And there was a yeshiva there called Itri Yeshiva, and I was learning there in Kailo. And my wife left Southern California, North Hollywood, and she came to live with me in an Arab village. I look a little like a sheik now with the beard, but then I didn't have the beard. And I thought it was the greatest thing in the world to be able to live right near the yeshiva, because that way I was able to invite all the guys. There were a lot of Americans in yeshiva. It was an Israeli yeshiva, but there were about 50, 60 Americans. And I was able to invite all these guys over for Shabbases and Thursday nights. It was unbelievable. It was just great. We could just hang out. And I figured I'm doing the biggest chesed for my Rebetzin. And because she can hang with the guys and have a great time. Now, I didn't realize it, but years later, I think maybe 2 or 3 years ago, she told me
More than that, but it's okay.
that she was miserable with me inviting all these guys over because she wanted to spend just some time just with us, right? I'm turning off my wife's phone.
It's off. It's
Right?
off.
She wanted to spend some time with us. Now, Lamaisa, I really messed up big time there. It wasn't a good thing that I did. And how I was able to salvage the marriage, I think she really salvaged it. But I want to tell you a beautiful, beautiful word, which I think is one of the most important foundations of a marriage. My grandfather, my wife's grandfather, Rabbi Oscar Z. Fassman, for all of you in Chicago, I'm sure you. So he was at a chasana, and as we all know, the custom is the chassan goes up to the chuppah first, stands under the chuppah, and then the kala comes up, and she walks around the chassan 7 times. Now, someone asked Rabbi Fassman, what kind of a crazy custom is that to make the bride walk around her husband 7 times? I guess she was a little bit of a feminist, and it seemed like a very male chauvinistic thing. The kala runs around the chassan 7 times. So she asked him, what's going on here? It's like, so he told her a beautiful pshat. He says, when the young couple get married, so the kala, the young wife has to understand, she should realize that her whole life is centered and goes around her husband. And that's why she walks around her husband 7 times. Every single day of the week, her life is focused, and the central focus of her life is her husband. He said, but the husband has to realize that wherever he is, whatever time, right, wherever he looks, what he has to see is to see his wife. And he has to realize that he might be the central focus of her life, but he has to realize that wherever he is, he has to be thinking about her and remembering her. And it's an unbelievably true word. And I believe that she didn't throw me out after I had all my friends over and I'm having a great time, because I think she realized, because of certain things that I think I did, that
You did a few things right.
I did that if your wife realizes that you love her and that you respect her and that you appreciate her, so then you can get away with murder. I'm telling you a secret. You shouldn't do it. You should help her, right? And you should, always be listening and trying to understand. But that's probably the most, I think, important thing for a woman to know, that her husband respects her, appreciates her, right? And he loves her. And if you do that, if you show her that, so then you will have a very happy marriage. Now, how do you show that? Is that correct or not?
100%.
I
We're on film.
Okay. Now, how do you do that? So I want to tell you something that I did. I just realized this a little while ago. I every single Shabbos, when we would have Shabbos together, whether there were guys there or weren't guys there, I would, before that Shabbos, I would prepare a vort on one pasuk of Eishes Chai. Remember that? Right.
I wish I could have written it down.
Right.
It was Shabbos.
So, and I, I had to work on it before Shabbos. I had to, I took out Eishes Chai when I started from the first pasuk, and every single week, I tried to have a vort on that pasuk, the pshat in that particular pasuk, as we went through Eishes Chai, and after we would sing Eishes Chai, I would tell her that vort. And the things that prove to your wife or let her feel that you love her and you're always thinking about her are not the big things. It's not buying diamond rings. It's not buying tennis bracelets with diamonds. It doesn't have to be something that's expensive. You should know, we just went to the store and we went shopping, I think a week ago. And we went, what was it?
For Shabbos.
We went shopping for Shabbos, yeah. I think Neveh was on a tiyul, so we went shopping together. And we went to it was a fruit and vegetable store. And we bought fruits and vegetables. And I saw my wife, girls like rabbit fruit, all kinds of strange things like alfalfa sprouts and all this weird stuff, right? So I see she's looking at these, what were they called? The beans?
Snow peas.
Snow peas, okay? This tiny little box of snow peas.
I never had them in Israel before.
Okay, so she got all excited. She sees these snow peas. And I see she's really into this. And then, we asked the guy, how much is it? And it was like, I don't know, 12 shekels. It was crazy.
20 shekels.
It was 20 shekels? 20 shekels? I would have bought it if I noticed 20 shekels. Okay, I don't even know what a snow pea is. I never saw it in my life. But I saw she liked it. So afterwards, I took it and I stuffed it into the bag. It should be for her. And the small little things that you do, if you do them, the Rambam says if a person has a lot of money to give to tzedakah, it's better to give it, if you have $1,000, better to give $1 a day than to give $1,000 in one shot. It's not the $1,000 gift that you give that makes the impression, but that you're always thinking, and she's always on your mind. And I think that Shilamai says she deserves that. There's a very interesting thing in the Shemona Esrei. In the Shemona Esrei, the first 3 brachas, we praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Then the middle 13 brachas is when we make requests for what we need. The first request we make is Atachoni L'Adam Das. We ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give us the seichel, to give us the intelligence and the understanding to be able to know what to ask for. And then we start asking for what we need. The first thing we want when we have Das, the next bracha, l'chora, is to be able to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to have a relationship with Hashem. But it's very strange. The next bracha, the second bracha of the Bakoshas, I would think if you want to have a relationship with the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the first thing you should do is you should ask forgiveness. You should tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu, listen, I messed up, I'm sorry. Please let me come back. But that's not what we do. The first bracha is Hashivenu Avinu L'Sarasecho, V'Korvenu Malkeinu L'Avodasecho. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, let us come back to your Torah and let us be close again. How do you have the chutzpah to ask to be close? First say you're sorry for all the things you did. But we don't say we're sorry until the next bracha. After we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please take us back. The pshat is that the most important thing that Hashem wants with us is that we should have a relationship. That he should know that we love him and we want to be with him. And when you have that relationship, so then he'll forgive us for anything. Only after we have that relationship, we rebuild that relationship. Let us come back, let us be close. So then, after that, okay, you did things, you did this wrong and that wrong. Because Baruch was willing to forgive you once you have that relationship. The same thing is true between a husband and a wife. If there is that relationship, if there's that love and that respect, and each one realizes it, and he doesn't doubt and he's not nervous, she's upset at me or she doesn't love me, she doesn't respect me, she doesn't appreciate me. Or if the wife realizes the husband, and there is that bond there, so then she'll basically forgive you for anything that you do. No, you don't do bad things, but Lamaisa, she will forgive you if there's that relationship and that love that exists between the two. And that's the most important thing. And the small things, she needs help, you help her out when she needs the help. But you remember, I used to travel a lot to the States. You guys know I used to do recruiting. I used to meet all you guys. Whenever I would come back, the first thing I do when I would land in Tel Aviv, in Lod, I would go, there's a flower shop there. And I would spend 15 shekel, which is about $4 or $5, right?
That's it.
And I would buy a beautiful rose. One rose with a little balloon. It says, I love you. And she would pick me up and I would give it to her because I was thinking about her. And that way I got out of having to buy her expensive jewelry when I was in the States. The boys say it's a tremendous thing. You think it's the small things that you make sure that your wife realizes how much you appreciate, how much she does for you. And you have a beautiful life. Like they say, happy wife, happy life.
Okay, I just wanted to mention that it's important to really have that confidence and feel that that your spouse loves you. It's not something that happens immediately. When you first get married, basically both partners are sort of testing each other out, whether consciously or subconsciously. How much is he really in this for me, and how much is he really in this for himself? How much does he really care about me, and how much does he just care about himself? And the more you are able to give over to the other person the feeling that I'm in this for you, I care about you, I love you, the more the other person is confident of your connection and confident that you really care about them. So then the less you are going to consciously or subconsciously test them to see. A very common scenario, I teach Kalas, right? So a very common scenario is the husband is, let's say, learning Kollel, or he has a kind of a laid back job, and the wife has a job and she's got to be there on time and she's got to get there. And exactly, she makes him a good breakfast, she's all organized and she's about to walk out the door, and then he starts to have a whole discussion about something. So it's very uncomfortable to just walk out. He's in the middle of speaking to you. On the other hand, you have a job, you have to be somewhere at a certain time. So if you tell him, listen, I really have to speak to you, but I got to go, the impression he's getting is your job's more important than me. Now, it makes sense that you have to get your job on time. This could also happen the opposite way too, as well.
I'm a very busy guy. I got to go out, got to be in Neveh. Neveh is a very on time place. You guys know everything starts on time in Neveh, right?
So if the spouse is trying to speak to you exactly when you're walking out, you could say, listen, I'd love to speak to you, and this is such a great topic. And, please make sure we're going to speak about this. I get home at, let's say, 5, and, by 7 o'clock, we've got to speak. But if the person is unsure of the relationship, the reaction is going to be, you're insulted. I'm not important to you. If you're secure in the relationship, so then, okay, I understand he's got a job. It makes sense. I'm okay with it. But what you really need to do is to develop that confidence. Let the other person really see, yes, I do care about you in other aspects, not when you're trying to walk out the door, but in general, whenever you're at home, whenever you're spending time together, or even when you're speaking on the phone together, the idea is to show the other person, yes, I really care about you and love you and respect you and appreciate you. And I want to spend the time with you. Just right this minute, it doesn't work. But if they're secure in the relationship, it's okay. And I think that's one of the reasons that I was able to go through that first kufa of putting up with all your friends, because I didn't doubt that you cared about me. I just knew that this was something, you were so used to from the time that you were a bacher, you always invited all the Americans over because you had a home in Eretz Yisrael and these Americans didn't. So to you, it was just natural that, and we did speak about it. And I also wanted to do lots of achnasas orchim and have a lot of guests. And, I came from a home where we had a lot of guests. So it wasn't new to me. So it wasn't like you could say to me, well, this is a surprise. Or, it wasn't like I was like, oh my gosh, I thought we were going to be totally alone all the time. We were having all these guys over. Like I knew we were going to have guests. I just didn't realize to what extent that I had to, ask for Shabbos by ourselves. And if I wasn't secure in the relationship, I would have felt like he doesn't care about me. He doesn't love me. He prefers his friends to me, which maybe he did, but at least when we did,
I had really good friends.
When we did spend time together, I felt that we were together and he cared about me. And so then I was willing to, whatever you want to call it, forgive him for that. But I understood also where it came from. I understood it came from a need and an understanding. And, it would be like a guy would ask to come over, and it would be like, how can I say no? The guy doesn't have anywhere. He didn't eat the whole week. He's in yeshiva, and of course I'm going to have him over.
Right. Listen, gentlemen, I want to bring up something which is maybe very sensitive, but I think to have a successful marriage, I think it's very important that we should understand why in the world we got married in the first place. Because when you think about a guy, we're having a good time, and if you're working, you're making money, you get married, you have to share it with a wife, it's expensive, you got to live with someone else, you have to, logically, it doesn't make so much sense for a guy to get married. It certainly doesn't make sense for a girl to get married and to have to put up with a guy. But and then once you get married and you start having children, if you really want to enjoy yourself, it seems like a crazy thing. I mean, children are such a, you get pregnant and 9 months, and it could be difficult for her, and she could be, getting sick and not feeling well, and you have to take care. What in the world do you want to get yourself into that situation? And then when the kid comes, you got to get up in the middle of the night. Little kids, little problems. Big kids, big problems. Why, Rabbi Isai, why is it so crucial? Why do we want to get married, B'chol? So I think if you understand why you want to get married, it'll make being married much, much easier. I want to tell you a true story what happened with me. I was going to the States, and like a month or 2 months ago, something like that, there was a Shabbaton, I was flying in, and everything was going wrong. I was half an hour before I was going to the airport, I get a phone call from where I'm staying. The guy tells me he has corona. The person supposed to pick me up couldn't pick me up because also he was from the family member of the corona thing. It was just, and I got to go get in the airport, these crazy lines. I was just like, it's just going to be such a hassle. And then I decided, you know what? I am going to have a great time. I'm going to go to the airport, and there are going to be big lines and people pushing and shoving and dealing with the Israelis. And you know what? I am going to the airport to do chesed. I'm going to do chesed. Somebody wants to go ahead of me, please go right ahead. Bakasha. I'm going to have a great time. Okay, I'm going to be Mr. Happy. I'm going to have a great time. I went to the airport and I had a great time. It was unbelievable. People are pushing, people this. Oh, you want to go? Please go ahead. I wanted to see how many chasorim I could do. If I could make a airport was a totally different experience. The line as quick as I can. I'm going there in order to do chasadim to other people, to make people happy. It says here my connection is unstable. Is it okay?
We lost Rebbe for a second there, but it seems to be back up and running. So
okay,
just keep going.
Okay, so I went to the airport with a different perspective and a different attitude, and I had a great time and I had a great flight. We are getting married. You know why? The honest truth why we're getting married is because every single person has a deep core need to be native, to do good and to help other people. And when a person realizes that, and he realizes in his marriage, I have a wife and she has certain needs. If I walk into the house thinking, oh gosh, what does she want now? So then it's going to be a tremendous hassle. But if I walk into the house realizing, you know what? I can do a chesed with my wife. I can do a chesed with my children. I can have a great day with my children if I want to have a great day with my children. But if I have a bad attitude, I'm going to have a terrible day with my children. I'm going to have a terrible day with my wife. If we realized I got married because I wanted to accept upon myself this responsibility, because I want to help and I want to do and I want to give. And the greatest situation to give is to your wife and to your children. And if we realize that and we consciously stop, you come up from work, you stop, you're not just like, whoa, I'm so tired, I'm so hungry. Oh, is dinner going to be ready? Are the kids going to be quiet? If instead you stop You take a minute to think, you know what? The most beautiful thing that I have in my life is my wife and my children. And I'm going in and I'm gonna do a chesed. I'm gonna try to build that beautiful house that I can have. So then it's a whole different perspective. And when we go in, all the hassles, and she's a very wonderful person, but
A lot of hassle.
a lot of hassles, okay? I love her, but a lot of hassles, okay? But if you go into it realizing, you know, I want to give because that's what you got all these Hatzolah guys, Yedidim guys running around, helping people, servicing people for it. Normally you would get paid for that. And they're running around doing it for free. And they love it. Why do they love it? Because they don't feel like they're being taken advantage of. They feel like they're doing what they want to do. Because people want to give. People want to build something, to build a beautiful family. And that's what you guys are doing. Two old people sitting here. And I'm telling you that the most beautiful thing that you'll have is your family, is your wife, is your relationship, is your children. And your grandchildren, and it's your great-grandchildren. Before you know it, you'll turn around. Some of you are already your grandparents. You'll turn around and you will be I say it many times, you'll have a whole dynasty. You'll have a whole tribe that has come out of you. She won't tell me how many grandchildren I have. I always say it over, but I think it's over 50. She just kind of hard, kind of poo, right? But believe Ayin Hara, you'll have beautiful, beautiful families. And that is what you're doing. You're Shalom Bayis, and you're helping your wife, and you're loving your wife, and you're loving your children. That's what it's all about. And it's worth every little bit or large bit of effort that you guys put into it. And Mirz Hashem, you guys should have the seichel to appreciate what you have and to realize how beautiful this thing is, a Jewish family. And Mirz Hashem, we should all be zeichet to have beautiful, beautiful houses and to have wonderful Shalom Bayis. We're still married. I hope even after this podcast, we'll still be married.
I wanted to say that one of the best things you can do for your marriage is agree to speak about Shalom Bayis, because ever since Joey, which we thank very much, approached my husband, and then my husband approached me, ever since, like we've been on our best behavior, because if we're speaking about Shalom Bayis, you know, we can't get in a fight, we can't disagree, and you can disagree, but you have to do it the right way, and it led to awareness, which is also a very important thing. Right.
There should be open communication. The technical tools, I think Rabbi Chalap speaks about a lot, and the Mash speaks about a lot. But Mirz Hashem, you should all be zeichet to have beautiful families, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Mirz Hashem. Yeah, any questions?
Your wife's related to the Rabbi Fassman that the yeshiva is named after here in Skokie?
Yes, she is. It's her grandfather.
My maternal grandfather. Yeah.
Wow. Nice. Thank you very much for your time, Rabbi. It's very enjoyable, even to an old guy like me who's been there for 25 years. Appreciate hearing the basics over and over. It's invaluable. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
My grandfather was a great example. He loved his wife, and he did not cease to express it, which is a very important thing.
He said, Rabbi Fassman said, he was an eloquent speaker. He spoke all over, and he said many times that the best speech that I ever made in my life was a very short speech. It was when I said to my wife, "Harayat mekudesh sleebit tabazu kedas moshe b'Yisrael."
Very nice, very nice. I might have to seal that line. Shkoyach. Thank you.
Okay. Very good.
Great. Thanks again for your time. Have a great day. Appreciate it.
You too. Take care.
Does anyone have any questions, or are we letting the Rabbi Rebetzin go?
David Magol, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov.
Yeah, Mazel Tov. Also to your wife, Mazel Tov. I know her, right? Isn't she?
Yeah. Oh, I'm married.
Thank you. Shkoyach, Rabbi. Rebetzin. Beautiful.
Thank you, Alex. How are you?
Rabbi, you didn't get a problem. We used to play tennis a lot. Used to go to the down the exit up the
Alex,
bay.
you're getting me in trouble. She doesn't know about that.
That was instead of learning because the guys were going off to Derek. He said, "Well, I'll play tennis if you guys learn." So that's why we're still on Derek. But it was not for nothing. All the sacrifice for Shalom Bayis is to save another neshama. Sarah would agree. If Avram did it, Sarah would be fine with it.
Very good.
Derek Imoy Rabbis.
Great to see you.
Nice to see you. You guys looking great. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. That is.
Just made another chassan.
Very nice. Baruch
All
Hashem.
right.
Okay. Shekoyach Rabbi, thank you all very, very much.
Nice to see everybody.
Thank you, Rebbe. Thank you, Rebetzin.
Okay, take care. Moshe Lubin, Eliade, Aaron Stamper, Avedadi, Stephen Weiss, whoa, Shalom Aleichem. This is very good. Okay, take care.